the voters' decision as to who to vote for. These issues and other burning issues in the polity will form the basis of our discussion this morning as we welcome the presidential candidate of the African Action Congress, AAC, Mr. Omoyele Sowore, to our Lagos studio. Good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for bringing me.
Yeah, and also we have in our Abuja studio, who will be part of this discussion, Mr. Jide Ojo, a public affairs analyst. You're welcome, Mr. Jide. Okay, we understand that this is technically issue, but before that, let's start the discussion here in Lagos. It's just a few days away to the election, but before we even talk about the election, let's look at what is still trending, what is booming, and you were reported, no, not that you were reported, I watched it when you said that you had raised alarm about the current or the suspended CJN. Can you explain what exactly you meant by that statement?
Yes, so at Sahara Reporters some 2 years ago, and it was even immediately after the 2015 election as litigations were going on in court, we raised alarm about the relationship between the CJN and the governor of Rivers State, and also how the election tribunal decisions were taken in Akwa Ibom, that money had exchanged hands. And when he was also nominated to become the central, the CJN, we raised another alarm. We published a story that money had been found in his account, huge amount of money. But we were shocked that the EFCC wrote a rejoinder to our story saying that we were not right, they had no intention of probing him, and no amount of money had been found in his account. Exactly some 2-4 years later, they're using the same evidence we presented some 2.5 years ago against the man and suspending him based upon that. What I was trying to say is that, the fight against corruption is a convenient one when it helps the political cause of the people who are fighting the fight, not because they're interested in fighting corruption. Otherwise, Omoyele would not have become the CJN because the information was out there, provided by a credible media platform.
Okay, I know that I asked you this question. Let's allow the court, since it's already before the court. But recently, or just a few days ago, the Transparency International and people who have been watching were saying Transparency International have not been a friend of the federal government. So this time around, if they come up with their ranking and say Nigeria has gone 4 steps higher, don't you think this time around we should do the thumbs up for the federal government in their fight against corruption?
The question we should be asking is which countries are the countries that we bypass in ranking. If they are the same mushroom banana republics who that's not something to celebrate, and we should not be celebrating if we are 4 points of the transparency perception in the world. We could always celebrate if we are 20 points off, if we are competing favorably with countries that are seen to be transparent and non-corrupt, not 4 points. It doesn't show seriousness that we are even celebrating that kind of a feat.
Yes. Is about the minimum wage.
Yes.
Now, yesterday the House of Reps, said 30,000 naira was what they were going to, put forward against the 27,000 naira the federal government talked about earlier. And you have said that you were going to make it 100,000 naira living wage. How do you intend to do that, knowing that even the 27,000 naira was still very debatable by government, by the private sector, by the organized labor?
That's good to know. I'm not debating a living wage. It's a reality that we must face, that people cannot live off of 30,000 naira a month, no matter where they work, even if they don't go to work. If they have to only wake up and go back to sleep, 30,000 naira is not enough. Do you know why? It takes 1,000 naira at least to feed in the morning. So let's assume you live for 1,000 naira for food. 30,000 naira is not even enough to take care of food. If you have family, if you have to go to work, transportation, you have healthcare issues, you have to send children to school. But I'm not the only one saying it now. The Speaker of the House, Yakubu Dogara, actually said that 30,000 naira is not enough. He said it. The issue was taken 3 days ago. So finally, we are realizing that what you said is true. They know it is true. So the police, as we speak now, the minimum wage of an average police officer, I think, is 98,000 naira. So somebody is reasoning along with us. Finally, we'll get there. But what we're saying here is that we can afford it. We only need to
We can afford it how? How do we if we can afford it, why do you think it's affected?
Let me even explain this to you. If you go to the NNPC, there's nobody earning minimum wage. An average pay or wage of an NNPC worker is not less than $1 million something. That's NNPC. No,
for the security guards, for the cleaners, for the drivers?
Look, I'm telling you, go and find out. There's only some agencies that are paying this slave wage, right? We don't have to keep deceiving ourselves. An average aide, I'm not talking about senators now. If a senator, as soon as a senator is elected and sworn in, the aide of a senator is not any less than 400,000 naira. You can check. So you have people who are earning maximum wage, condemning people who are trying to earn a living wage. And the money is there, but we don't like to help people in this country. We don't like to pay people their due as long as they are disadvantaged. Those who are advantaged are taking care of themselves. I have argued, and nobody has come out to dispute this, that the monthly allowance of a senator in Nigeria, 14 million naira, is that in dispute? It's equivalent to the annual salary of a worker for 38 years if you work consistently for 38 years. So if you are being paid 30,000 naira as it is now, you have to work for 38 years before you can get any that's a review I'm proposing. The review is for us to go very quickly to a minimum. What is the GDP of South Africa? It's less than ours. South Africa is paying equivalent of 126,000 naira. And it's not for federal workers alone. It's across
we're going to much time because there are quite a lot of issues that we think will shape this 2019 election. And you can see the kind of accelerated hearings we have seen at the National Assembly concerning this minimum wage that has been at the front runner for more than 2 years. So while we're looking at other issues, let's go straight to one issue that has defined our election in the past 20 years that we can remember, the issue of ethnic and primordial sentiment, religious sentiment, where they will say, irrespective of what you've done, is our brother. Yeah. We're going to have swing votes. And we also have this in the United States where you have stayed for some time, where you will know that this is a Republican belt, so this is a Democratic belt. Having said that, so people will say, Omoyele should, why this time, when you know the Southwest have been the president from 1999 to 2007, why don't you wait for this rotational arrangement that this year?
I imagine that you are talking about zoning, right? And zoning is a lazy man approach to politicking. If you become the president of Nigeria, you are not going to be the president of your zone. But Nigeria should understand that zoning is a dangerous political system of electioneering. That is why we have a president now who cannot see beyond his nose. Everybody that will come from his zone. But in case you are interested in zoning, there's a zone that you guys haven't talked about. That is zone 7. You know, that is 6 zone of people who are poor, who are abandoned, people who are unemployed. This is the largest zone. This is the zone where you have those 22 million voters, young people in this country. Some of them have never had a job before in their life, never seen a doctor, never really tasted anything good in this country. They've always been handed the shortest end of the stick. And so if you want to talk about zoning, it's the time for our zone. Thank you.
So now we are being joined by Judy Ojo in our Abuja studio. Judy Ojo is a public affairs analyst. Welcome to the program today. And we're looking at the issues to shape the 2019 elections. We're drawing very much closer to the election day. We're barely 18 days to the elections. And for now, what is on the front burner, so to speak, on the headlines for a while now is the issue of the Chief Justice of Nigeria, Walter Omoyele, who is being faced with some allegations of corruption or allegations bordering on not declaring his assets. Tell us, we want to know, how do you think this is going to affect or reflect on the elections?
Well,
we apologize for that. We're going to get back to video.
And I think this is going to play out. Much as what the president has done may appear altruistic on the surface in trying to, in pursuant of his anti-corruption crusade, the people of the South are more likely going to see it in the light of, you deliberately pushed out our own son so that you can have one of your kind, who is from the north, to preside over issues relating to election petitions. And that may rub off negatively on the number of votes that All Progressive Congress will get from the South. Although we do know that out of the 6 states in the South, only Enugu is being governed by APC. But be that as it may, all attempts to market the presidency of Buhari to the South people may be negatively impacted upon by this action. Because you recall that immediately this issue broke out about the fortnight ago, the 5 out of the 6 states governor in the South actually came out, met, and issued a stern warning that even the suspended CBN should not go to the Code of Conduct Tribunal, because according to them, it didn't follow due process. And so I see this playing out, because whether we like it or not, issue of religion, issue of ethnicity, issue of status still plays a pivotal role in our politics. No one gets to win election just by speaking very good English or by saying that I'm a Bretton Woods trained technocrats. In all of that, you may get the sympathy of few middle class people who understands what you're saying. But the rural grassroots people will be looking more from the prism of, is it one of us? Is it from our zone? Is it from our community? Is it of the same religious? Is it of the same religion with us? Is it from our own ethnic clan and all of that? So we can't rule that out. Or even though we do agree that ours is a developing society, but as at this point in time, issue of ethnicity and religion will still play a pivotal role. You recall that in 2015, South and Southeast, while General Muhammadu Buhari then got the bulk of his votes from the north, and of course Southwest played became the bride that everybody courted in order to swing to victory. So whether we like it or not, history beckons, and we wait to see. But I think what the president has done in the case of Omoyele is doing the right thing at the wrong time. Like the European Union, the US government and the UK government have said, it is coming too close to elections, and there is that likelihood of perception of maybe some ethnic manipulations, and also that the next most senior judge, justice in the Supreme Court, is from Northeast. People are likely going to read that minutes, and which they have also already done. But I think at the end of the day, again, I've commented on Omoyele's issue on a number of platforms, and my own take is that yes, much as he may be guilty of non-full disclosure of assets, or that it may be corrupt, but you cannot short-circuit the due process, the rule of law, in trying to wage war against corruption. Otherwise, I've cited this example often. Okay, Evans, we'll come back to who even made confessional statements of being a kidnapper. Is he going to be tried? Let's wait for him to be sure. Thank you just by merely. Sorry, we will come back to you. Let's talk some more with our guest. We have been joined in our Port Harcourt studio by Omoyele local practitioner and public affairs analyst. Let me get your take on these current issues. Election is just 2 days away, and people are beginning to read meanings to what is going on. Part of the things they are talking about is the trending story that has to do with the CJA, the suspended CJA. And we are asking the question, is it about where it comes from or about the merit of what is being alleged to have committed? The alleged offense committed. Is that the question? That is being given. And the ethnic coloration that is being given to the case, because people have said that the presidency is looking at it. But let's come back to Lagos. You listen to what Jide said. He seems to, according to him, he seems to be talking about the reality. Have you sat down to really look at this reality and how you intend to change the narrative, or you believe it doesn't exist?
No, but he also agrees with something I've been saying, that they, on one side, are complaining that Nigeria is in trouble now because the president has become very ethnocentric and cannot see beyond his zone. He has appointed a chief CGN, an acting CGN from the north, just appointed an IGP of police from the north. Exactly, that's the problem. You have a president who feels that he's acting on behalf of his zone, and he's appointing and filling positions with people from his zone. And he is also turning around at the same time, it sounds to me like an oxymoron, to say that zoning is the only reality that can save Nigeria. It's the only way we can move forward. We have to be ethnocentric, we have to be religious, and have all these biases. But a president that has come with a zoning mentality, with a religiously fanatic mentality, you are complaining about what he is doing with you. And at the same time, you're asking us to go back to the same problem that created the another issue. Listen, I've been through so many of these before as a reporter, where you do a report on someone and then his zone will say it's because it's not from. And by the time we counted everybody we reported, we discovered that there are thieves everywhere, in every zone. And remember when I was doing a report on Stella Odua, when she bought the BMW for the prices that were crazy. And there was even a protest. In certain parts of the Kenga group, said it was because she was Igbo, and at the end of the day, we were able to prove that it was not because she's Igbo, but because she was greedy and corrupt, because she was eventually removed. That is the way Nigerians should be looking at the future, that the fact that you have someone from your zone is not going to guarantee you security, not going to guarantee you progress. Obasanjo was from our zone, he couldn't construct the Ibadan Expressway completed, the one from here to Ota, his own town. Jonathan came, he couldn't finish the East-West highway. You go to the north today, the place with the highest problem of drug addiction is Daura, the hometown of President Buhari. We went there the other day, there's no electricity there. I'm not saying that you have to have electricity in your village before you provide them. I'm not saying that people, when they fail, it doesn't matter where they come from. And when you talk about hunger, starvation, underdevelopment, it doesn't have any respect for any zone. Right. But there's this psychological feeling that if your person is the one who is president, somehow your life will be better. Look at the empirical evidence. All right.
Omoyele, we'll come back to you. We've established our contact once again with our Port Harcourt guest, Ofunabo Inko-Taria. Let's move away from the CJN's matter, but we'll take a break, and when we come back, we'll continue from our Port Harcourt studio after the break. Please stay with us.
Hi guys, if you are just joining us, we are live at SilverbirdTV on the program Newshub, where our presidential candidate Omoyele Sowore is having an interview.
I am a husband. I am a father. I am a friend.
Yeah, my phone.
I am a creator of jobs. I am a philanthropist. I am a member of the workers. I am a believer in I am. You can give Nigeria and start. Our nation's future is in your own hands. Use your vote wisely. Thank you and God bless.
You better do an ad for shows.
That was what I
Good morning, fans. Yes, please keep sharing. I understand it's very heavy, so people are probably still in bed, some are work. So please keep sharing. Let's make this happen.
Alright, welcome back. Let's go straight to Port Harcourt, and remember we're still talking about the issues to shape the 2019 elections. We still have openable in Qatar in our Port Harcourt studio. We're moving away right now from the CDM waterlogging's topic to something else that might just be shaping the 2019 elections. Now, recently, Omoyele personally pulled out from the presidential race. Recall that INEC rejected her pulling out from our political party, ACPN. Reasons being that it was too late for her to be doing that. If you needed to pull out, you should have done that earlier. But we also saw that people like Fela Durote calling for a coalition to join forces against the APC and the PDP. Do we see more presidential candidates from other political parties pulling out between now and February 15th?
Well, I wouldn't know. I don't have that gift of leverage to know the political parties that will pull out or the political parties that will melt. But even if INEC rejects the withdrawal of Obio facility, that does not necessarily mean she will have to go continue on that steam to say she's a presidential. All she needs to do is to join forces, meld with other political parties, because no political party apart from the PDP, to some extent, the ABGA, and I don't see any other political party that can actually beat the APC in the forthcoming election. So it will be full heavy for any political party to think that it can achieve the victory on its own. It has what it takes to achieve the victory at the polls. So the best thing to do is to melt, that is join forces, so that way they'll have the numerical strength and the chances. No, because even if they melt, they cannot even be. They are trying to do what the APC did in 2014. But in this particular instance, the APC in 2014, we had how many parties coming together, including defectors from the ruling party, the PDP. So they don't have that clout as we speak right now. We have seen the presidential candidates. We have also seen the members of these other political parties that will hopefully melt to ensure they have enough weight to beat the APC in the forthcoming election. But I don't see that happening. It's going to be a fallen hope. It's going to be a fallen hope. So my advice, no problem, there's nothing wrong with that. It's politics. Everybody's going to the ring and put in your best. If your best is not good enough, we still have, is it 2023 or whatever. But for now, it's between the PDP and the APC. Okay. Jide, let's talk to Jide. Jide, one other things over time that has also shaping our politics is the issue of money bags, the money that has been thrown. And we saw the dimension vote buying as taking. Do you think Nigeria will say something, will say no this time around with all the advocacy and all the messages that have been turned out from time to time? I'm sure you already want to react to this. But let me have your take first.
Very unfortunate that money politics has become a bane of our elections, and as you have seen, INEC is doing its very best trying to see how to minimize that. And as a student of politics and as a player, a consultant in this field, I've done a lot of training, I've done a lot of advocacy around the issue of money politics. And much as I want to say that a lot of people will not mind collecting this money in order to trade their votes. If you read my column in the Punch of last Wednesday, I actually took on this issue talking about the opportunity cost of vote trading, because I see it more as a trade. It's between the buyer and the seller. And the challenge basically is that the laws are very okay. You see that Section 124 and Section 130 of the Electoral Act 2010 as amended has criminalized vote buying with penalty of about 500,000 and 12 months imprisonment or both. We also have seen the efforts of the INEC to redesign the polling station to also ban the use of smartphone within inside the cubicle. Also the rolling and the flattening of ballot paper. Those are the efforts INEC has made. It has also reached out to anti-corruption agents like EFCC and ICPC. But the major challenge, I was on the radio program last week, I'm talking about this campaign finance and the issue of vote buy. And people were calling in to say, look, no matter what you people are telling us, if somebody brings money, I'm going to take. And I was shocked, because what people have failed to see is the opportunity cost of receiving the 2,500 as it were.
We still have that quickly, you want to react to that?
I've seen something different on the field. I think the money policies has come full circle. People have come to realize that it's not happening at first. Of course, the problem of instant gratification, and people feel entitled because they've been denied of what belongs to them. Money that are used in driving election and election day, money that was stolen from the treasury. Likely, I would say almost 95 to 98% of what is being spent for buying votes are stolen directly from the people that are getting it, some of them that are getting it at the end of the day. But what we're also seeing is that politics has become really more tough. People are traveling to over 34 states at this point and met people around the country who are asking what is there for them in the future. And they never ask me for money. People stayed in the sun and in Bauchi and never asked even for water, even though the temperature there was pretty intense. So, but you know that these politicians feel like they have everything under control, but they are not taking into consideration that there are a lot of people that registered to vote in this election who you can't bribe, and most of them are in the middle class. There are about 2 million voters in this area, that's it, Victoria Island, Lekki, Ajah, and the Korea axis, who never voted before and who took that don't vote, but now they feel like they love that space and they're going to vote and you can't bribe them. And when you look at eye charts of voters, even the rural people that we talked about, the market women that we talked about a lot, who are the conveyors or purveyors of money for buying votes, they're not as many as they used to be. Mostly now we have youths and students, 22 million of them, more than 50% of voters coming out. And if you look at the middle class, there could be a surprise and shock. We hit the political class this time around in a way they have not ever had before. And I'm sure we're saying that they are very jittery, that politics is no longer the way it used to be. That is why most of the major candidates are not granting interviews, because they know that people are waiting to hear from them and they don't want to do the kind of things we do. They don't also campaign the way we campaign. They only parachute into rallies, wave.
Let me come to you with this question. Were you a part of the pact? That's why there's no aspirants coming together.
No, I attended a meeting only once and saw what it was about and left. And I've said that so many times. They know it, and they also have all admitted to the fact that I wasn't part of the pact.
Okay, now you heard our post-market guest say that it will be a fallen hope that it's going to be foolhardy for any political party, aside APGA, PDP, and maybe any other major political party, to think that they will win the election. He also said that you don't have a clout. So how do you intend to, to win the elections if, for example, you're not part of the pact? And of course, Dr. Geka said, you don't have this, we don't have the numbers. The numbers is...
We have the numbers. We started our political party 5 months ago, August last year. It's the fastest growing political party in the country. The political analysts you have on TV these days are talking heads. And they are not in tune with the reality of how Nigerians are aspiring to change their politics in a revolutionary way. And that's the flaw of just picking up only what you see in newspapers. You are not reading the temperature of the people. People are tired of...
So you don't intend to join forces with another party?
We already have a force in place, and the most important issue is ideology. If we don't have people who share the same ideological position with you, how can you join forces with them? For instance, some of the people in fact, they don't have any position on minimum wage. In fact, some of them don't have any position at all. And we are very clear about what we want to do. We have manifestos for Spicer. We have 10 things we want to do. I'm not hearing the same thing from them. I debate these young people all the time. Sometimes they actually take my talking points, develop it, and make it a little bit more flowery and poetic, and that's what they're saying. But what I'm saying here is that we already have a coalition in our own political party. We formed our own party 5 months ago because we couldn't find any political party that would carry our aspirations. And there are a lot of young people that we never probably seen participate in politics who are following us. And I'm saying that they will get the shock of their lives in this election. The elections are free and fair. Everybody system is just 2 days away.
No problem. Please sit down. You just do something very over time. Some of them have seen the other day you see party structure that win the election and not just popularity. If you were to talk to Sowore here, things like that you do in terms of having party structure. Somebody has done the analysis that if you were to pay party agents 5,000 naira each on election day, you will not spend nothing less than 1.6 billion naira on that day of election. Is that the reality we're facing, or do you think there are volunteers who will support the cause without collecting any money? Well, the hope and the prayer of every Nigerian, of most Nigerians, is that we have people that will not mortgage their country and mortgage the future of this country. People that will not sell their votes. That is our prayer. But yes, we are praying. The issue is the fusion of this prayer, of this realization. That's how we realize it. There is so much poverty in the land. Now, if you talk of election based on ideology, election planned on ideologies and so on, I agree. A lot of us have the ideology that we believe so much in those ideologies. But I tell you, the politicians we have today, majority of them, because we still have the old, majority of them, they still believe in that old thing. And that is what is even responsible for the actions of Mr. President. The ultra-violent actions he's been taking in the last 1 year. It's just because of this election. Because he knows that if he goes to the poll, he's actually going to lose. Nigeria will not vote for us. So that is the question. And he's in charge of the security. He is in charge of, forget the rhapsody of security operatives must be professional in their conduct. Forget all those. Those are just rhapsodies. It will not come to play because even the change, the CBN was changed, illegally removed, so that they will have who decide who will constitute the panel. Now that of the former item, you can imagine what happened. A lot of DIGs, which is normal, I'm not saying it's abnormal, it's quite normal. We are retired, and they brought somebody that they believe will do their business. So the elections are not just all about free expression in this part of the world. We are gradually heading towards it. In this part of the world, the election has more to do with graft. The president will get people, whether, even in 2015, he lost the election, you know, but we saw the underage voters. Now this is 2019. You can imagine the crisis is accumulating in the country. And he's going to do that so that he will use the army, the police, and the security agencies. What will happen? He's intimidating the voters, the electors, and Nigerians into retreat, into capitulation. That is what it is. I believe that we have the best ideology everywhere in the world. But in this, our country, it's not all about ideology. It's more or less, it has more or less to do with the practicalizing of ideology. Okay. Even those who come and tell you this is what they do, they are just making flowery statements. Most of them are not even sincere.
We'll take this as your closing remark.
They'll tell you they've got this playing to the gallery. This is what the people want. This is what they want to hear. So let us tell them what they want. It's completely different theory. Let us tell them what they want to hear. So that we get the vote. How many politicians fulfill the electoral policy?
Thank you so much.
In 2014, how many fulfill? Not many.
Big question for Nigerians.
So, my dear brother, my brother in the future, the point is, we all love beautiful ideology.
Thank you so much, Honorable Kutaria, a public affairs analyst as well as a lawyer. Thank you for your time with us on the program. Let's just get your closing remarks quickly. As a public affairs analyst, maybe there are things you are saying that other Nigerians are not saying. Is there any form of writing on the wall that says certain things would happen between now and the 16th of February that will shape the elections?
Well, the international community has warned us that there could be a spike in terrorism in the few days to elections, and that cannot be ruled out. Graciously, we've not seen much of physical violence, but there have been a lot of psychological and structural violence. And it's quite unfortunate, even though there was a peace accord signed on December 11 and 12, much of the players have not abided by that peace accord. But more importantly is the issue you flagged earlier on about vote buying and vote trading. I know Chairman has raised that issue a couple of times in the recent past. The buying up of PVCs, the collection of VIN numbers, voter identification numbers, and then the collection of bank account details of some of the people for which they are purchasing these things. What do they want to use that for? To want to make money transfer. So we are not going to see much of vote buying in cash transactions, where people will come with bags of money and be dispensing. What you see, if you are very observant during this election, is people, getting a credit alert on their phones, maybe immediately after they've voted, and that is going to be a very difficult challenge for security agencies to look into the more. But I think the people must know that when they trade with their votes,
to tell us the issues that could shape the 2019 elections. Thank you so much, Jide Ojo, a public affairs analyst. And right here in Lagos, we still have Omoyele, a presidential candidate of the African Action Congress. We have some questions for you from social media, from Twitter. And I'll just read out all of them so that you could answer them as quickly as possible. How do you plan to restore our dumping economy, Mr. Sowore? This is from Dulcie Williams. Presidential candidate Sowore, what do you plan to do differently from the present administration in terms of anti-corruption fight? And how much minimum wage is appropriate for Nigerians, knowing that human wants are insatiable?
Yes, we'll start with the economy. We don't have an economy now that we can call an economy because we have not made the kind of investment in infrastructure, in the power sector, particularly in the security sector, to have a country that is functioning. You look at your business and tell me how much you spend on diesel every month. That means that you cannot even compete with companies that are doing the same kind of work we do from Ghana or Rwanda. So we have to solve the problem of the power sector, or the security sector, of infrastructure, and provide jobs, creation of jobs, and also a living wage so that people can have the purchasing power to run the economy. So I don't understand sometimes when people say that, you have too much money in circulation, and then people say they don't have money to spend to even buy tomato or buy pepper. It doesn't make sense, because our economy is being run by 5 PowerPoint economists, as I call them. They base all their economic policies on what the World Bank told in structural adjustment program. But it creates an imbalance where the topmost 1% is always in charge of the assets of the country 99% of the time, or 99% of our assets, and the liability is transferred 99% to the people. That's what we have in this country. The moment you have a wealth redistribution, policy in place that redistribute wealth to the majority of the people, you have an economy. It's as simple as that. As I said also, yes, anti-corruption was said it will be a matter of ensuring that there's prevention and enforcement of consequences, and not the kind of manipulative consequences. I didn't have time to talk about my position about the CJN the other time, but not only the CJN, there are a lot of people out there. In fact, what the NGOC now came out with is that even and that is not believers. They are even ordered that to the agency. There's a high reporter who can write that petition for you, blackmail. No, that was how is evidence-based information blackmail? Was that not the same person that revealed in 2014 and 15 that the Banco bribed his way to get the election in Ekiti for now Banco is testifying against fellowship. They remember then that he should be in the US and in Nigeria that allowed against him.
All right, thank you so much. The presidential candidate of AAC, that's African Action Congress. Thank you so much. We wish you well for the elections. 17 days to the elections. We wish you well.
Thank you.
And I will take a break. And when we come back, we still have one.
Thank you so much, people, and I'm just to the end of this broadcast. Stay tuned for the rest of the day because it seems to be pretty, active and full active. If I come here screen again, I'm still pretty